Hello viewers, here is a General Electric fan. This is a 3-speed 12-inch model with oscillations. This is coming up on an entire century old. This would date back to the early 19th century, somewhere in the 1920s or the 1930s. And despite the age, it still works just fine, which is really a testament to the build quality and design that was put into these things during the era. I'm not into these things as much as I am the 70s and 80s models. I would take a translucent blade oscillator over one of these any day, but that's not to say I don't appreciate what these are and the quality and performance that exists within them. This one is just about all original. The paint is all original. I never repainted it. And other than a couple of flakes starting to come off here and there, it's really quite pristine still. This is a brass model, but it was factory painted, which kind of stinks. I much prefer the brass ones. They're a lot more flashy and interesting. It needs to be cleaned up. It's still kind of dirty, but mechanically it works quite well. It is the category numbers 75423 and the model number 11428, I guess. I don't know what that says. I can't quite read it. Specification maybe 27225. So I'm not really sure what the actual model number is. This is a 110 volt model, 3 speeds. This is not original, this is hot glue. The switch would have originally had a little plastic tab over the end, and that broke off over the years, which created really quite a dangerous situation, because the way these switches work is you have this lever here. One side of it connects to, I would say connects to the mains, but these would have come with non-polarized plugs, so there was no guarantee that it was plugged in the so-called correct way. But in theory, the electricity would come into one side of this lever, and this lever was live, and the lever would hit 3 different contacts inside there. And so without that piece of plastic on there, if you was to grab this while it was plugged in, you would get quite an unpleasant surprise. So I put hot glue on there, and that seems to work just fine. I did this very sloppily, but if I was to mold it carefully and then paint it the same color or a similar color as the base is, I think it would really be a good answer to this problem. But the switch, it does work. It works just fine. The lead wire I have replaced, and I tacked it onto the guard so that the flex point would not be up there where it's harder to repair, but down here where the new wire is. And this cord it's not original. This is just one that I had laying around at the time. It's an awful fit for this piece. I need to replace it with something else. I really like this replica cloth wire. Unfortunately, it's very expensive, but it looks really good. It's definitely the best option for these fans. I don't know if this particular model carries the flaw or not, but a lot of these General Electric fans are known to have issues with the gearbox getting brittle. And I'm not talking about getting brittle 2 years after use. I'm talking about getting brittle 80, 90 years later. so you can't even really blame it. I have one, actually it's the one that hangs on the wall over here. That one up there. That one I believe is a Gray Bar branded product, but it's the same thing. It's a General Electric. And that one, the gearbox did break on that one. So the circulations no longer function on that one, but so far this one's been fine. It feels like it's still pretty sturdy to me. I kind of wonder if all the grease sitting in there does something to the metal, kind of softens it out over time. That could be inaccurate. That's just a thought that came into my mind. I don't know if that's really the case or not. It has some paper on the bottom is coming off. There's supposed to be a felt all along the bottom of the unit here, but it's long gone, so I got to replace that too. So this unit needs some cosmetic work, but mechanically it's really quite sound. I have actually gotten a lot of use out of this thing over the years. I used to use this in the bedroom a lot, and I got a lot of hours on it when I was using it in the bedroom, and it always worked quite well. So this is okay, let's try again. We are getting 119.5 volts right now, so we're a little bit over spec from what this is supposed to operate on, and the effect of that is going to be a lack of variance in speeds, because these were controlled by a speed coil. It's a single winding which goes through a speed coil to drop the voltage, and the speed coil does not behave well under higher voltages than what it was intended to run on. If you run these on a true 110 income, you'll find that they have a pretty good variance in the speeds, and the low is calmer than it'll be on this video. I don't think that it's necessarily harmful to run it at 120. I think they'll run just fine, but you will definitely notice a difference in the performance. We'll start with the circulations off, and we'll start up on low. I don't recall if this said what it was rated for. 50 cycles, 110. I don't see a power rating on there. I don't know. It's going to be a shaded, whoops. It's a shaded pole motor. I would guess it's a 4-pole motor. This is drawing 0.63 amps. 44 the watts, and has a power factor of 0.59. And it's really throwing a lot of air. It's really quite powerful. And it's not overly loud, but it's definitely louder than a translucent plate oscillator. It's going down to 0.61 amps. If I go all the way across the room, there's still a very strong breeze. Really incredible how powerful these are compared to the ones of today. I think this probably already outperforms the average 12-inch oscillation fan that you could get at the hardware store today. They have a very unique sound to them too. It's very distinct. Okay, let's go to the medium. It's got a good startup sound too. Hopefully the furnace will finish its cycle before I end the video, so we can hear the startup sounds. Okay, this is 0.67 amps. 61 the watts, or no, that's 51 the watts, and a power factor of 0.64, which is actually kind of high for a shaded pole. No, maybe it's not really. It is 50 something. Tip of cam. It's moving good air. Oh my gosh, it's gonna cut my finger off. Oh no! Give me a break. Even all the way across the room, still feel a very, very strong breeze. These kind of didn't have any aerodynamics issues because there's no guard to cause a problem. The balance is flawless. It is an absolutely perfect balance. I can't feel any kind of vibration at all. Which is interesting because there wasn't a lot of good blade balancing technology available yet at the time this was made. And nowadays we have these computer mechanisms that you can mount the blade on, and it'll tell you exactly where it needs more weight, and it's really easy to balance something nowadays. But 100 years ago, not so much. But they still got it right. So that just says the problem we have today is people just don't care. Because if it could be done 100 years ago, it should be able to be done now. And every year in between now and then. Okay, let's go to the high. This is a little bit difficult to use. And that is up to 0.67 or 0.68 amps. 6.7 is fluctuating. So there's not a whole lot of variance in the power draw. The watts is 66 the watts, and the power factor is 0.68, which is not bad for a shaded pole. Still feels perfectly smooth. Zero balance issues here whatsoever, which is probably part of why the bearings have lasted so long. They also have oil wells in the bottom of them, so they're constantly getting lubricated as needed. Very strong airflow. And it sounds like a machine. It doesn't sound like a piece of junk. All the way back here is still a very strong breeze. And there it goes. The bearings are still pretty free. I'll grab the startup sounds now, and then we'll go over to check the oscillations. I'll turn the heater off real quick so we have good audio. Start it up on low first. Let's do this a little bit better. This is the low. go up to the medium. And the high, which of course is the fastest speed. Look at the clock on the blades. It's pretty much perfect. And I guarantee you it came out of the factory like that. That didn't sound too cool. I don't know what that was. Something's loose here. You know, it might just be that. That's probably all that was. Alright. 0.8 amps for this much airflow? I mean, that's not bad at all. I think this probably moves the air around the room as well as a Lasco 3733, which is about the same power draw. So for all those people that are going to get all upset about the so-called efficiency improvements that we have today, which are baloney, because it's just the use of a different kind of motor. There was, I mean, a PSC motor versus a sheeted pull. Obviously, the PSC draws less power, but most of the fans today made with the PSC motors don't move the same amount of air. So it's not really efficiency, because efficiency would be power consumed in association with air moved. And they just ignore the air moved and only look at the power consumption. But that's not efficiency, that's just power consumption. Stupid. Circulation's on. Circulates beautifully. Go down to the medium. Low, which of course is the slowest speed.